So first side hustle, 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I figured out if I could convince enough kids in my class to not buy candies for the day and give me the money instead, I could give them more the next day. So in the way I would do that, I was undercutting the tuck shop by taking their money, going and buying wholesale sweets, coming back to school, and then selling those off.
99 FM, it's Sibber and Mo in the morning, and we have our royal hustler, Brandon Ihmig. He is a branding and marketing and business consultant. His specialty lies in creating success and just inspiring significance into people's lives. He is also the founder of PointBluntPro. This is a company that renders web development and management, layout, graphic design, content creation, management, and branding, of course, and marketing solutions. So it's an all-round company that covers from A all the way to Z. He also actually appears on the credits of the acclaimed Namibian film #Land of the Brave as the transmedia producer. So exciting things. Brandon, welcome to 99.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, no, we're so grateful to have you.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's start with Brandon. Who is Brandon? Where's Brandon from? What was Brandon's biggest dream as a munchkin?
So I was born in South Africa and moved to Namibia with my family in 1996. And I was 16 at the time, so that gives my age away. But I came to Namibia with my family, and my parents started a marketing firm in Namibia. And so that's, I guess, where most of the influence comes in for me for being in marketing. That's pretty much, I've known that for most of my life, is just being around marketing and being in that environment. And growing up, interestingly enough, is that, you know, for being in a family of entrepreneurs, my dad being a hyper entrepreneur, and success was never really a motivator or a driver for me, but rather significance was. And there's a whole lot of backstory to why I grew up around a lot of successful people, but I never felt that they were ever happy or that their success made a difference to the people around them. And so the choices that I made after high school and throughout my career, both as an entrepreneur and just all the other things that I've done, have always been motivated more by significance than by success.
Interestingly that you actually would mention that you were exposed to successful people, and growing up seeing that that decision for you to go, no, I'd rather go for significance to success. When did that aha moment happen for you?
Ooh, that aha moment probably happened when I was, I would say 15, 16, around about then. Tiny little story for that is, being the rebel I was, not really at school. There was a thing, I was in a really prim and proper kind of English school in South Africa, and you had to, yes sir, yes ma'am type thing. You had a cap and your blazer and this whole thing. But one of the things that we did as being rebellious teenagers is we wore these comic socks. So there was socks that had these comical, like Bugs Bunny or Daffy Duck or all these different Looney Tune characters on. And I had a pair of socks that had Hagar the Horrid, which was like this Viking. And on the one side of the sock, he's sitting on top of a mountain, and it says it's great to be on top, and the view's amazing. And then on the other side, because he's sitting on top of this mountain, it says it's lonely and painful. And I think that, as a story, is like how I felt a lot of successful people were, that it's great to be on top, the view is amazing, but it's lonely and it's painful. And I never really wanted to pursue that. And so it's brought me to where I am today.
So on your journey to being your own entrepreneur, starting your own company, before then, did you ever have any kind of side hustle? And what was that journey like before you established this company?
So first side hustle, 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I figured out if I could convince enough kids in my class to not buy candies for the day and give me the money instead, I could give them more the next day. So in the way I would do that, I was undercutting the tuck shop by taking their money, going and buying wholesale sweets, coming back to school, and then selling those off. That lasted for a week until I was called into the principal's office, and he said, I need to cut this business. I need to stop, and they're going to call my parents if I don't. I still, to this day, don't know if they did. But that was my first exposure to running my own business. It was a week long, but I think that started off because from there, pretty much throughout my high school career, even the business that I started, Point Blunt Multimedia Productions, was as a result of a school project that I had run with a good friend of mine, Kun Welsh. We had done it as an economics project at school, and I just continued it after school because it was making good money.
Indeed. So we're just going to put a pin on that just for a little bit and listen to the Fugees, Ready or Not. And you were definitely ready to take on a new project, weren't you? 99 FM, it's the Fugees saying Ready or Not. Our royal hustler, Brandon Ihmig, is still with us, founder of PointBluntPro. We went from when he was being a rebel with his Looney Tunes socks, when he chopped the profit of a tuck shop until he was threatened, hey, gotta call your parents. And that was the beginning of his entrepreneurial journey. So let's talk about PointBluntPro. How did that come about?
So PointBluntPro is short for Point Blunt Multimedia Productions, and I started that company in 2000. So we like around 20 years now, and 21 going on to our 21st birthday. Oh. And it started off as a result of a school project, as well as just my interest outside of that. It started off mainly as being like a DJ services. So we started DJing at weddings and doing filming and lighting and all the multimedia stuff around events. So we started doing corporate events, and then kind of just as things snowballed from there, we saw opportunities, took those opportunities, grabbed those opportunities, made the most of them, and then started expanding out the business from doing not only just live events. We started doing studio work, so we set up a recording studio for that. Then we realized that a lot of the work that we were doing for corporate clients also meant that at that time not a lot of people were on social media or on websites, so we set up our studio to then start doing things like websites, start doing social media management, and then just things like started added onto that. So as we saw opportunities, we realized that the scope that we could expand on was out there. We would grab these opportunities, and my business partner and we would have the saying that if not, why not? Like, we weren't going to put ourselves into a box and say that we could only do multimedia productions, and this only meant we could do AV and maybe some recording stuff. We decided that we would take on whatever challenge we could, and we would take on, like when Steve Jobs says, if somebody offers you, it's Richard Branson or Steve Jobs says, if somebody offers you a job and you just say yes, and then you learn afterwards, then you decide that's what we would do. So many times we would be asked, can you do this? And we would like, yes, we can. We'd go back afterwards and sit in the office and go like, how are we going to do this? Yeah. And this was like pre-Google days. So now it's so much easier. Now if somebody offers you how to do something, you can take a Udemy course, you can go and find a 10-point tutorial. And so today, in terms of growing business and business development, is that all the tools are available to anybody to be able to do that. And
how you even found yourself in #Land of the Brave?
So that, I think, was through, I knew the team, Dave Bernardi and the rest of a lot of the people that were involved in the project I'd known from our AV days. And so when we had too many clients, we'd sometimes spill over clients to them, or we would get some of their clients if they were too busy. And so it was just out of relationship. And so when they were starting to shoot the film and all that, I then came in and started activating their social medias, and then we would take all the behind the scenes footage and we would make social media posts out of that. And that's where I came in for that. So nice. And that was an exciting project to work on, to see Namibia take on a project like that and then be able to put that out in such a unique way. I think it was such a unique film for what we've seen traditionally come out of Namibia from film.
No, it was quite a huge milestone for us as Namibians, especially in the cinematic landscape. I know that you're also a passionate public speaker. Any advice for anyone who's listening in who wants to pursue this avenue, because it's not an easy road to travel in.
No, it's not, and I also don't think it's for everybody, but I do think everybody would benefit from being able to do public speaking and to do it well. There's enough evidence from research as well as just from testimonies of people that if you are able to speak well publicly, it will grow your business, it will grow your career, it will allow you to be unique in what you do, your skill set, you can communicate better, you can grow your opportunity and your exposure. As well as then from a personal branding side, if you can do public speaking, it allows you to communicate publicly better and grow your own brand. So advice that I would give is consume as much content around the topics that you want to speak about, or the passions and the interests that you have, consume massive amounts of content. By that, I don't necessarily mean YouTube videos or Instagram posts. I mean, like, watch other speakers on that subject, read as many books as you can, watch documentaries, watch interviews of people that are in that industry, consume as much information, because public speaking is about showcasing a small portion of what you have already learned.
True.
Or what you've already experienced. And the more that you have learned, the more knowledge you have, the more experience you have, the better you'll be able to speak about it. And then the second thing is just practice. It's a learnable skill, and it's one of those skills that just gets better and better the more you do it. Seek out opportunities to speak as much as possible. Create a stage if you don't have one. Find those opportunities to be able to just publicly stand in front of a group of people. It doesn't have to be 1,000 people. You can start off with 10 people, but get used to being articulate in front of people, because you can get over your fear, you can control the nerves, you can do all of that. But you can't do that in your room. You can't do that in the kitchen or the shower. You have to be in front of people to be able to master that skill.
Indeed. And finally, Brandon, before I let you go, any hopes for Namibia? Especially, I would like for you to focus on, the marketing and field that we're in.
So I'm excited to see what's happening in the startup kind of phase that Namibia is in, with regards to a lot of young entrepreneurs, and seeing how we are looking at startups slightly differently to the rest of the world. Is that I think startups in Namibia are very still grassroots level, and I think that what I'm excited the most about that is that there's these opportunities that these youngsters have that have started these businesses and have started these startups, is to go out and to showcase Namibia to the world through their startup, and the branding and marketing opportunities that come for that, both for themselves, both for their companies, but also then for Namibia as a whole. I'm excited to see just how the lens will change on how the world sees Namibia when these startups make an impact both in Namibia and outside of Namibia.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Brandon, for coming. We really do appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. That was Brandon Ihmig. He is a branding and marketing and business consultant, also the founder of PointBluntPro, and he is a believer in significance over success. Royal